Hey, this is Steve Bloom, and you are listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Today on this week's episode of the Cinema Geeks,
we take a look back at our winter predictions.
We find out who took home the crown for overall predictions in 2016.
And we begin the 2017 season with our spring preview.
All that and more coming up on today's episode with the Cinema Geeks.
That's right, it's another episode of the Cinema Geeks, and I am one of your Cinema Geeks, Optimus Solo. Joining me today for our spring preview episode is Hard Candy Mandy. Hello.
Hey.
Hey. It's not Heyo because it's not that episode, huh?
No, it's not time for the Heyo Miyazaki.
Okay, we'll wait for that till the next time. Also with us, Movie Revolt Dan.
I don't know. I don't have a funny thing, I guess. I don't know. Trying to think of something on the spot, like that was a funny, almost hello movie, but no. Yeah, so I got nothing.
As long as you didn't go with the Adele song, then we're good.
And then also joining us is Mr. Fridley Sant. Hello.
Just like Amanda stole his thing, he stole my I don't have a thing. So, like, I don't know. All I can think about is the Switch, though, and that's not even a movie. Like,
get your video game talk out of here.
Hey. Okay.
I'm just kidding. A lot of people excited for that one. All right, so we are here for a spring preview episode. If you are longtime Cinema Geek fans, you'll remember these from 2016 when we did our different seasonal previews, usually 2 or 3 months at a time, where we made some box office and some Rotten Tomatoes predictions. We're going to be doing the same thing here in 2017. We're going to change it up slightly, which we'll get to in a little bit. But before we get to the new stuff for 2017, we still have a little bit of business to go through as far as the results from our winter preview, as well as our overall results for 2016 as a whole. Amanda, how are you feeling?
Not great.
First thing to do here is look at what the standings were going into the winter preview. So for box office, Dan, you were leading the way with 20 points going into the winter preview. Amanda and myself were tied with 15. And Matt, you were in last with 11, but remember, you didn't have any chance to score points in the first couple that we did. So not too bad. You're only 4 points behind Amanda and myself. Dan, how are you feeling about your 5-point lead?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
After the Oscars, though, it's hard to, you know. I'm not even sure if that's really a 20. You know, if I really have 20 points, I'm gonna find out that somehow La La Land won. I don't know. It's just, who knows? It's hard to keep up.
That was quite the fiasco, not just for Oscar fans, but for our Film Fantasy League last year, because it was down to the winner of the Best Picture was going to decide who won. And Dan, you pulled it out. We didn't think you did, but you ended up pulling it out after La La Land's win got taken away from them. So, congratulations on that.
I know. I feel personally responsible for that, and which is great. It came right after Hyro tweeted at me that he won the championship, and I'm like, well, he did. And then, you know, miracles do happen, as they say. You know, like in 1980, I think it goes like neck and neck with 1980 upset of the Russians and Olympic game. It's about equal. So
it's the year of upsets, because there was the basketball championship. There was a 3-1 lead. In baseball, the Cubs were down 3-1. So it's all about those comebacks. It's not over till it's over. So we'll keep the trophy in the Cinema Geek closet.
Sometimes it's even when it's over, it's not over. So that's fun.
Yeah, exactly. So you had the 5-point lead going into the winter preview, which for all intents and purposes means that you would have had to get all of your predictions wrong when it came to box office, and myself or Amanda would have to get all of ours correct in order to make it interesting. So your first pick to click for the winter was Arrival, and Arrival ended up with a budget of $47 million and a box office domestically of $100 million. So currently, as 2016 came to a close, Arrival is 29th overall at the box office for 2016. So that is enough to give you a point for your pick to click. Amanda, your first pick to click was Moana. And we don't have a budget for Moana because Disney has not released it, but I'm pretty sure the $246 million that it made is going to be higher than whatever its budget was. It's number 11 overall for 2016, so that's enough to give you a point as well.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. My first pick I would rather not bring up, but for some reason I decided to go with Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. For the record, I was just going with the fact that a lot of times patriotic films seem to do well at the box office. I think it's more so the patriotic films that come out in January and February, though, for future reference. Because Billy Lynn's Halftime Walk made no money. Like, almost literally no money. Let's see if I even have its budget here. Its budget was $40 million, and it made $1.
Oh.
So,
Ouch.
I will not be trying to take a point for that one. Matt, your first pick was A Monster Calls. And A Monster Calls budget was... Oh, there it is. $43 million was the budget, and A Monster Calls only made $3.
Man.
So, not a big box office juggernaut there either. So, Matt and I will sit the first round out as far as point collecting goes. Dan, for your second pick, you went into the world of animation with Sing. So, even though we did a bad job in our overall yearly box office predictions, as far as Sing went, you at least got a chance to redeem yourself when the winter predictions came, because Sing, on a $75 million budget, made $267, currently in the top 10 for 2016. So, clean sweep of picks to click for Dan. Amanda, your other pick was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Budget $180, pretty high budget. Box office domestic $230. So also a clean sweep for Amanda.
Needed it. I needed it.
My next pick was Moana. We already talked about that with Amanda's first pick, so I got a point for that. Matt, your second pick was Office Christmas Party. Budget $45, box office $54. So that is in the green. So a good pick for Office Christmas Party. Let's switch it over to Bet to Bomb, which films did not do well over the Christmas season. Dan, your first pick was Bad Santa 2. Bad Santa 2, budget of $26, box office $17. So not making its budget back domestically at least. So Bad Santa 2 is a proper prediction on your part. Amanda, you and I both decided to go with The Space Between Us, which didn't come out. So there's that.
So it's a free point, right?
No.
Because it made no money.
It did, yeah, clearly it did not make its budget back in the winter. And Matt, your first pick was Assassin's Creed. We all know how that turned out, and that will be a point for you because that was definitely a bomb. $125 million budget, and it didn't, it made about 54. So, way under half. Dan, your second bet to bomb was Office Christmas Party, which we talked about in the picks to click. Matt got that one right. You got that one wrong. So in the head-to-head battle, Matt actually did a better job with that one. So,
but
Amanda, your second pick was Edge of 17. How you feeling about that one?
I'm not so sure.
Not so sure. Edge of 17, budget $9 million, and the box office of 14. So it made its budget back. I'm sorry.
What a low-ass budget, that's why.
My second pick was Collateral Beauty. Collateral Beauty's budget was 36, box office 31. So not quite enough for Collateral Beauty, which means it's enough for a point for me. And Matt, even though you might have beat Dan in the head-to-head matchup with Office Christmas Party, you're going to lose the Sing matchup because Sing definitely was not a bomb.
yeah.
All right, wild card. Matt, your wild card pick was Rogue One would be number 1 for 2016, and that it is. With $529 million, it's sitting in the number 1 spot still. Dan, your wild card. Assassin's Creed would have a smaller opening weekend than Warcraft. Do you know what the results of that one are?
I do not.
All right. Assassin's Creed opening weekend, 10.2 million. Warcraft opening weekend, 24.1. So Warcraft more than double.
Boom goes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Which is just sad when how bad Assassin's Creed did, considering Warcraft was one of the biggest bombs of the summer. So there you go.
But Warcraft wins the video game battle, I guess. Amanda, your wild card was that Nocturnal Animals would outperform Arrival. How are you feeling now that you've seen both films and we've been through all that?
Dang, I doubt it. No. Yeah.
Yeah, Nocturnal Animals made $10 million and Arrival made $100.
When looking at the preview, I had more faith in Nocturnal Animals. Now seeing the movies, whoa, I was wrong.
Whoa. I was also wrong because for some reason I was confident that 3 of the top 5 grossing films for the year would all come out in November and December. I was like, you have Star Wars, you have Harry Potter, you have Sing and Moana from the animated realm, you have Doctor Strange. I thought 3 of the 5 were going to be released that month, and I am wrong because only 1 of the top 5 was released, and that was Rogue One. Sing and Moana were 10th and 11th. Fantastic Beasts and Doctor Strange were 12th and 13th. So I was way off on that one. So that means that we add 1, 2, 3, 4 points to Dan, 1, 2 points to Amanda, 2 points to myself, and Matt, 3 points.
I felt really bad about those 2 points until you said that you had 2 points too, and then I felt not so bad about that.
So final standings through the winter results for box office. Dan, you win with 24 points. Amanda, you and I are still tied at 17. And Matt, you are at 14. So that's how things ended when it came to the box office. All right, so other bombs that we didn't talk about that you guys could have picked for your bet to bomb picks. Passengers would have been a correct pick for a bet to bomb. We talked about Assassin's Creed and Collateral Beauty and Bad Santa 2. Allied actually would have been a box office bomb. Nocturnal Animals, and then some of them it's kind of unfair to say because of the limited release, but Loving Silence did not make their budget back. 20th Century Women, Bleed for This, Incarnate, A Monster Calls, Rules Don't Apply, Miss Sloane, Billy Lynn, and Shut In, which, by the way, in case anybody's wondering, Shut In has to be one of the worst films that came out in 2016. We just watched it. Other films that were picks to click, besides Star Wars, Sing, Moana, and Fantastic Beasts, you could have picked Doctor Strange, Trolls, Hidden Figures, La La Land, Arrival, Hacksaw Ridge, Why Him, Fences, Office Christmas Party, Manchester by the Sea, and a couple others. So a lot of picks as far as films that made their money back. All right, let's switch things over to the winter results for Rotten Tomatoes. It's a little bit closer of a race going into the winter here. So Dan, at this point, you were in the lead with 11 points. I was only 2 points behind you with 9. Matt, you were only 2 points behind that with 7. Amanda, for the total year points going into the winter, you have 3.
For Rotten Tomatoes?
Yes.
I feel so awful about my life right now.
Well, let's see if the winter results will help boost your self-esteem. So, Dan, your first certified fresh pick was 20th Century Women. How do you feel about that one?
Pretty good. Pretty solid.
Yeah, 20th Century Women has an 89% currently. That's good enough for a point. Amanda, your first pick was The Founder. Any thoughts?
Did it even come out?
Yes, it did. Very limited, but enough to come out and have an 82%. So that is a point for you.
Well, 4 points. Look it up.
My first certified fresh pick was for Loving. Loving currently has an 89%, so that's good enough for a point as well. Matt, your first pick was Passengers. Passengers currently has a 31%.
I went all in on the wrong movie last year, clearly.
Passengers not doing any favors. All right, for the second certified fresh pick, Dan and myself both had La La Land. Clearly, that is worth a point with all the buzz and critical acclaim it got. 93% at Rotten Tomatoes. Amanda, your second pick for fresh film. Do you remember what it was?
Nope.
What if I told you it was Billy Lynn's Halftime Walk?
Don't feel good about it.
You shouldn't, because that is not going to get you a point in any way, shape, or form. It does have a 45%, so it seems like a higher score than what most people have said when it comes to that film. Matt, your other certified fresh pick was A Monster Calls. Even though it didn't make a lot of money from box office, it does have an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. So that would be where you were right with A Monster Calls as far as it being certified fresh. Let's go to Rotten. Dan, you kind of did the flip of Matt. Matt had Passengers as a certified fresh film and got that wrong. You had Passengers as a certified rotten film, and that's actually wrong too. So it was obviously in the middle at 31%.
So Passengers is just failing everybody. It's
yes,
failing
no,
everybody.
it's not making any fans here from the prediction group. Amanda, your first certified rotten pick was, I don't even know if I'm saying the film right. It's Solace?
What?
Solace? S-O-L-A-C-E?
Solace?
Oh, yeah. That's probably how you say it, huh?
Either way is acceptable.
So
Loss is entirely out.
All right. Amanda, 24%. You got it.
Yes.
Another Rotten Tomatoes pick for Amanda.
Woo woo. 5
All
points.
right.
Squeaked that in.
For my first one, it was Incarnate, and Incarnate currently has a 15%. So, correct choice there. Matt, yours was Bad Santa 2, which has a 23%. So 3 of us getting points there in the first round of Rotten Picks. Dan, your second pick was Office Christmas Party. Office Christmas Party squeaked away with a 41%, so not low enough to get a point there. Amanda, your second pick was Collateral Beauty. Collateral Beauty currently has a 12%. Another point. How are you feeling?
A little bit better about my life.
All right, good. We're bringing
Man,
it
I don't want to be last on this one too, Amanda.
Sorry. Sorry.
For my second Rotten pick, I picked Kidnap, which was supposed to come out the same weekend as Incarnate, and it got pushed to sometime in 2017. It still hasn't come out, so I can't get a point for that. Matt, your second pick was Friend Request, which also got pushed. So neither one of us can get points for films that did not come out yet. All right, that means grand total at the end. Damn you, Kidnap, for not coming out. Dan, you have 13 points. I have 12 points. Matt, you have 9.
Oh.
And Amanda, you have 6. Doubled your score. So Dan, the double, I don't know what we're going to call it. It's not really, I wanted to say Triple Crown, but there's only 2 categories. So the double win here for you, box office and Rotten Tomatoes, you win 2016 when it comes to these seasonal previews. How do you feel?
Well, at least 2016 gave me one positive thing. So
I don't know.
Gave the world maybe.
Dan, you're on a roll here. You win both the box office and the Rotten Tomatoes for the seasonal previews. You win the Film Fantasy League. Maybe
That sounds like a Triple Crown to me.
Yeah, maybe a lotto scratch ticket is in your future. I don't know, or something. But Amanda, at least you doubled your points, so it's somewhat respectable. No.
Somewhat respectable.
Dang, dude.
That sounds like in Pretty Woman when he just dressed her up in some nicer clothes. Okay, she's somewhat respectable now. She's still a hooker, but she's in nice clothes.
Well, in
That's
a
what
minute,
I-
you're going to get to turn a new page to 2017, and you can just start off with a bang and show us what's up.
So I'll be Aaron Brockovich then?
Sure. You can go from Pretty Woman to Aaron Brockovich.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. For the record, if we're reviewing the films that were possible to choose for the winter, there was a ton of films that we could have gotten right for Certified Fresh. There was only 6 films that you could have picked for Certified Rotten, and we picked 4 of them. So out of all of our picks, we got 4 out of the 6. That means there was 2 left that we did not pick. So we got Bad Santa 2, Incarnate, Collateral Beauty, and Solace were 4 of the 6. Does anybody want to take a stab at the other 2 that are rotten?
You see, was it Billy Lynn? Oh, no, Billy Lynn was 40%. I have no idea.
Matt, any guess?
I really want to say Sing because I don't like the previews for that, but I know that can't be possible.
Nope, the other 2 would have been Assassin's Creed, all the way
Of
down at
course.
18%, and then the film that I just talked about, Shut In, 6%. That was the winner for the lowest.
It was a shitty movie.
It was a terrible movie. But all the films, man, there was a ton of films. It is award season, so I guess it makes sense. But there was a ton of films that you could have picked for Certified Fresh. Dan, do you want to take a stab at what the highest film was out of all the ones that came out those 2 months? There was
Wow.
There
Was it
one
Moana?
film. Moana would have been number 2. Moana and Edge of 17 were tied at 95%. The highest out of all of them would have been Manchester by the Sea at 96%. So it went Manchester by the Sea, then Moana, Edge of 17, then Arrival at 94, then La La Land and Fences at 93, Hidden Figures 92, Doctor Strange all the way up at 90. Loving and Jackie and 20th Century Women all got 89%, A Monster Calls 87, Hacksaw Ridge 86, Lion 86, Rogue One 85, Silence 84, and The Founder 82. So a lot of opportunities to score points, I guess, when it came to the certified fresh. All right, enough with 2016. Let's clear the scoreboards, clear the point tallies, give everybody a fresh start. Matt will be with us from the beginning this time. Amanda has a year of experience now. Dan will be defending his crown, and I'm just along for the ride to commentate, I guess. I'm getting the death look over here.
Because I lost, bro. That's why.
Let's go over a few quick changes before we get to it. We're gonna broaden things a little bit. So, all of 2016, we were just doing what we just did as far as the reveal goes. 2 of the box office picks to click, 2 bombs, a wild card, 2 certified fresh, and 2 certified rotten. We're gonna expand the Rotten Tomatoes a little bit. We're gonna introduce something called Versus, where we just pit 2 films against each other. So it doesn't matter if they are above 75% or lower than 25%. It's just how they're doing in relation to each other. So that way we can kind of not just focus on the high and the low, but maybe a little bit in the middle as well.
For the record, I named this Rotten Tomatoes versus Battle because I think it sounds cooler.
Rotten Tomatoes versus Battle.
Can we do it? Can we make that a thing?
Yes.
It says it right on my paper.
All right. You already have it typed up. And then we're also going to be inserting a kind of a technical rule here to allow us to talk about more films. Nobody can use the same film twice in their predictions. So, for example, if I use last December, if I would have used Rogue One as a box office pick to click, I could not have used that also as a certified fresh film. So you can only name a film one time, just to try to add to the diversity. And then
one clarification on that.
Yes.
What about the wild card, which is way different than all like
the wild card? If it involves a film, I think it's going to be different enough that we can probably allow that. So I'm for it.
All right.
Only because looking at this first month, I kind of do that. And then we're also going to do something starting with the next one here. We'll do a test run this time, but we're going to have a spotlight film or like a featured film that we use each seasonal preview. And nobody's going to be able to do any predictions based off of that film. And instead, what we're going to do with that film is we're going to try to actually predict the box office specifically and the Rotten Tomatoes specifically. And whichever of the 4 of us is closest to the box office, domestic total, or the Rotten Tomatoes score will gain a point there. So only one person can gain a point for each thing with that featured film. All right, the business is out of the way, so now let's get to the actual predictions so people can speak besides me, because everybody listening is like, when is he going to stop talking? Amanda's raising her hand. She's one of them. All right, let's start with the box office. Maybe Amanda, I'll assume that Amanda was just raising her hand because she wanted to go first.
Sure, we'll go with that.
All right, so Amanda, your first box office prediction, and where are you going to start? So are you going to start with a pick to click, bet to bomb, wild card? What are you going to do?
Yikes, I'm going to go right down my paper, and we're going to go picks to click.
Give us one.
This is going to be super easy, but I have a lot of faith in this movie, and I'm super excited about it. So I'm going to go with Beauty and the Beast. Obvious choice, but I need points.
She's trying to get the points right off the bat with Beauty and the Beast as a pick to click. All right, Matt? What do you have for a pick to click?
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast. Good option.
Good option here.
Smart choice, Matt. Smart choice.
We'll totally own 3rd and 4th place this time, Amanda.
All right. Well, I do not have Beauty and the Beast as one of mine. I don't know, Dan, do you?
I do not, no.
Okay. Dan, what's one of yours then?
I'm gonna try to. I feel like, with all the winning, I'm gonna have to try to, be braver, try some new things, take some chances, and I'm gonna go with The Shack. The reason being, it's a religious film, and those tend to do well with limited budgets, and it's coming around Easter time, so I'm thinking it might make some change. So I'm going to go with The Shack.
Well, hopefully it makes more than change if you would like it to click as your pick here. But I can definitely see the logic in that one. Some films in previous years have definitely succeeded with that formula. All right, for my first one, I had to change this last second because of our new rule. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Fate of the Furious as one of my picks to click. Even though I think it might make quite a bit less than the last film did, I still think it'll make well over its budget. So I'm going to go with Fate of the Furious as a pick to click. Amanda?
That's also my second pick to click.
All right, so Beauty and the Beast and Fate of the Furious are the two for Amanda. Matt, what's your second?
Yeah, no, I like Amanda's things.
All right, new rules are being formulated in our heads as we speak. All right, so Beauty and the Beast and Fate of the Furious. Double down on both of those for those guys. My second pick, even though it's kind of coming out as we're talking about this.
It's Dan's turn.
Oh. I'd like to switch it up and go in all different orders. But because Amanda would like Dan to go next, Dan, what's your second pick to click?
Well, I want to take chances, but I also don't want to lose, so I'm going to go with the Fate in the Furious, of the Furious, or whatever they're calling it.
That next Fast and the Furious movie.
The Furious of the Furious.
So we've accomplished one thing, and that is nobody will gain or lose points based on the Fate of the Furious, since we all picked it. My other pick's going to be Logan. I think the buzz is positive. The reception so far is positive, so I think it's going to make a bunch of money. And why not go with comic book films? So Fate of the Furious and Logan will be my two selections. Amanda, we're back to you then. Let's get negative.
Negative. I'm going to go with a little gem that I just saw a preview for. And I think I was shaking my head the whole time. And that's Unforgettable. Katherine Heigl. Is that what her name is?
Yeah.
Yeah, looks not so good. But
looks forgettable?
I'm scared for Rosario Dawson.
I think I've seen this film before in a couple different ways. So, Unforgettable, interesting pick there. I can see that happening. Dan or Matt, who do you want me to go with next, Amanda? You're the boss.
I am the boss. I don't know. You guys rock, paper, scissors, but I can't see you, so I guess that wouldn't work. Let's just keep going in order so I don't get confused. Go with Matt.
Matt, what's your first bomb?
Oh, man. The Power Rangers, because Jesus Christ, what the F?
What the F?
So you don't think it's going to make its money back?
Oh, man. You know what? For both of my best to bomb, I'm going to do properties that I love the originals and I think they shouldn't have touched. Which isn't giving anything away because, goddamn, this spring is everything's a remake or a sequel.
I had Power Rangers on mine, but I had to delete it for as I'm switching picks around. So
because it's going to be certified rotten too.
So I did not go with it as a bet to bomb. Dan, what's your first bomb?
I'm going to go with Lost City of Z. I just think it's I wonder if people are going to be interested in seeing it. It looks like it's a pretty big budget, and I don't know. I was trying to find something that has a chance of just not clicking, and I just wonder if people have any interest in watching a adventure film. I hope it does well. I don't think it's, but I have a feeling it won't.
There's a lot of those films too that end up, if they're not one of those big names or don't have that recognition, that end up getting like not much of a shelf life in the theaters, and that can kind of help as far as them not making their budget back. So I can see that happening. A lot of those kind of get lost in the shuffle. My first bet to bomb, I'm gonna go with Chips. I don't know. I just don't know if that's. Maybe I'm wrong because we've had like Miami Vice and we had a couple of those other TV shows from back in the day that have done well.
Miami Vice did well. That was one of the only movies I've ever seen that people walked out.
I thought it did well. Maybe that's just the true bromance guys that love it so much that are always talking it up. But
are you sure they just didn't like the show?
No, they liked the film too. I swear they did. But Chips, I don't know. I don't see that as resonating too much with today's audience. And yeah, there's a couple notable people in there, but I don't even think that it's got enough star power either. So I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on Chips, but I can see it not making its budget back. But that might be somewhat foolish too because it probably doesn't have a huge budget either. So maybe a tough call, but I wanted to try to go out there. And since I couldn't pick Power Rangers, I had to go with something different. So Chips is my first bomb. Amanda, what's your second bomb?
This is one of the picks that I'm a little uneasy about.
Okay.
but the other ones didn't make so much either. That's going to be Smurfs, The Lost Village. Boss Baby's coming out like right before it, like a week before or something. So maybe people will still be going to see that and not see this shitty Smurfs movie.
So you think the Smurfs are kind of at the end of their rope?
I think so.
Ooh, you think the Smurfs movie looks worse than Boss Baby?
Dude, Alec Baldwin at least has got some star power in that one. I mean, he's got some pull.
We'll see.
Oh man,
Battle
I
of
wish the kids had a
films.
good movie.
Yeah. Matt, what's your second bomb?
The second bomb is Ghost in the Shell. I know that there's some hype around it, but oh man, I am not enthused about this one.
I didn't know where to go with that for box office. I can see that. I was torn. I didn't know if it would resonate with some people or if it would not. If there's a big enough crowd, I don't know enough about fans of the property, so I was kind of
It
lost on
looks
that
so expensive.
one. It probably
Like, and
is.
if they do it right, it's gonna be like Marvel movie budget. And if it does that, like it's not gonna have the same draw that the Marvel movies have, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's an anime. Like it's already got some stigma from that.
True, very true. Dan, what's your second bomb?
I'm gonna go with Life. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna switch that up.
Ooh,
No.
is this the Oscars?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I had Chips. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go with Life, and then I'll stick with it. I'm gonna go with Life. I just, I don't know. Again, it looks expensive. It's gonna be competing with Power Rangers, which is gonna make so much money. But
Hey, it's going to be competing with my other pick, Chips. So
yeah,
I think it's.
I'll keep it different and go with Life.
It's a good bet that one of the films that comes out on March 24th, at least one, is going to do terrible. Because Power Rangers, Life, and Chips all come out that day, and I was going to pick all of them in some way of doing bad, but I didn't have enough slots. So for my second bomb, I'm going to go with Kong Skull Island, and the reason being mostly for where it's coming out, because it's coming out a week after Logan and a week before Beauty and the Beast. And I just don't know if enough people will care to go see that. Maybe there is a big King Kong. I did pick it as something that was going to make a lot overall, but it's got to have a fairly large budget as well, from all the effects and stuff like that. So
Yeah, but Tom Hiddleston's in it. There's a lot of ladies who dig them some Tom Hiddleston. All right, and it's also got Sam Jackson, another funny guy, John C. Reilly. I'm excited. I'll give it my money.
But if you only have one opportunity to go to a movie in that 2-week period, are you going to go see Logan or Kong Skull Island?
See, the funny thing is, I'm at the movie theater every week, okay? So I'm not the person to ask that.
Okay, if you only had one chance, though, which one are you going to go to see? Logan, right?
Out of either Logan, Beauty and the Beast, or...
No, just Logan and Kong Skull Island.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna see Logan.
Okay. What if you only have one choice between Kong and Beauty and the Beast?
Beauty and the Beast.
All right, I rest my case. All right, so those are the bet to bombs. We'll have to see which one of us is right, which one of us is wrong, and how we kind of start out 2017. But we still have some box office talk to get to, and that is via the wild card. Amanda, how wild is your wild card?
Oh, I don't know about how wild, but I don't think... Matt, I don't know if you're gonna like this.
Uh-oh.
But I'm gonna say the Ghost in the Shell outperforms Power Rangers.
Well,
So I think that's like a lose-lose for you anyways, like you don't care, so I don't know.
yeah, they ruined two things.
So Ghost in the Shell outperforming Power Rangers in a battle of the TV properties, I guess you could call it TV properties, going to the big screen. Matt, what's your wild card?
Okay, so my wild card, I did that the live-action Beauty and the Beast is going to outperform the original one at the box office. The original one's had 20 years to just keep accruing money, and that's going to mean that it's going to have to make more than the live-action Cinderella one did. I think that's an interesting enough wild card.
All right, interesting. Yeah, battle of live action between the live action and animated. Oh, do you remember what the animated one made? Did you look at?
218 million.
All right. Should be interesting to see if it gets up that high. I'm liking your pick there. I think you're going to score some points. Dan, what's your wild card?
Well, before the Beast battle in movies, going to have them battle in the box office, and I'm going to say that Godzilla will end up making more money than Kong Skull Island will be made. By Godzilla, I mean the one from 2 years ago. I think it's gonna outperform Kong Skull Island.
All right, so Battle of the Monsters. I just went overall for the entire month of March and April, and I'm just going to say that Beauty and the Beast, I think when all is said and done, will have, out of all the films that came out in those 2 months, it will have had the biggest opening weekend. So I'm going to say that Beauty and the Beast has a bigger opening weekend than Logan, and a bigger opening weekend than Fast and the Furious, and there's a couple other big ones on there, so I don't think it's necessarily a gimme, but I like the chances of Beauty and the Beast ending up with the biggest opening weekend over the 2-month period. All right, so those are all of the box office predictions. 5 points at stake there. We'll have to see who can cash in on some of those opportunities. Let's move to Rotten Tomatoes then. The categories that we're expanding a little bit, but let's start, Amanda, with something we're used to. Let's start with Certified Fresh. What's one film that you think at the end of the time here is going to be Certified Fresh?
I'm going to say The Zookeeper's Wife. I think that there's enough like historical backing to all the heartfelt stuff that you're going to get, and I think that Jessica Chastain does some really good stuff, and Daniel Bruhl is also kind of a powerhouse, so I think that some good stuff will happen out of this.
All right, Zookeeper's Wife, Certified Fresh in Amanda's book. Matt, what are you hoping to be Certified Fresh?
I'm really liking the look of Going in Style. I think it looks fun, and I think it's got some star power, so fingers crossed.
All right, Old Men Robbing Banks. Dan, what do you have being fresh?
I'm going to go with what I think is, looking at the list, probably one of the most anticipated films I have going into this spring season, and that's Wilson, starring Woody Harrelson. I just think it looks great. Love Woody Harrelson, love the director, so I think this is more of a personal choice too. So I'm going to say this is going to be Certified Fresh.
All right, Wilson getting some love here from Dan when it comes to being Certified Fresh. I'm going to go with The Circle, just because I think, again, there's a lot of buzz behind that film based on the cast and the director, etc., and some good track record with those people that are involved. So I'm saying The Circle is going to be Certified Fresh. Amanda, your second fresh pick.
I'm going to go with The Shack.
Certified Fresh?
Yes.
All right, so kind of in the same boat as Dan with it making some money, you think it's also going to make some critical acclaim?
Yeah.
All right, Matt, what do you got being fresh?
I accidentally doubled up, even though I thought I had fixed all of it. So I'm going to pull an audible and do a mistake and then put Chips as Certified Fresh because I like Eric Estrada.
Eric Estrada, getting a mention on the podcast. All right, so you're going kind of somewhat against me. I don't think it's going to make much money, but that doesn't always dictate if it's going to be Certified Fresh or Certified Rotten. Dan, what's your second fresh pick?
I'm going to go with The Discovery, a Netflix film. I love the trailer. I think, Netflix they've had some most of their bad movies have involved Kevin James or Adam Sandler, and they don't seem to be a part of this. So I think it'll be a solid film, so I'm going to go with The Discovery.
Nice. For my second pick, I did not pick it as a pick to click, so I could save it for this round, and I'm going to go with Beauty and the Beast being Certified Fresh. Regardless of how much money it makes, I think it's definitely going to be Certified Fresh because the critics seem to love these Disney live-action films for most all intents and purposes here, I guess. All right, so Rotten. Amanda, what's Rotten?
I'm going to say Before I Fall. I think it looks fucking stupid. And I don't like it. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be rotten.
I didn't even realize that was one of the options.
It's like Groundhog Day.
Okay.
But with teenage girls who bully people.
Oh yeah, it came out. It's coming out this weekend with Logan. I missed it. Before I Fall. If I would have remembered the preview, I might have thought about that one because it did look pretty terrible.
Yeah, it puts Bill Murray in a place where he just needs to hate little girls because his movie is way better.
All right, Matt, what's one of your rotten picks?
Talked about it before. Boss Baby looks terrible.
I I agree. For some reason, when I think about that film, it makes me think about 9 Lives from last year.
Yes,
Oh,
that.
jeez.
So I'm all with you on that one, even though I don't have it as one of my picks, but I can definitely see the logic there. Dan, what's one of your rotten picks?
Yeah, it's hard with animation because like I feel like sometimes I give it a pass.
Right.
But when it comes with animation and live action melted together, not so much. So the Smurfs is going to continue its streak of being awful, and I'm going to say it's going to end up being rotten. So that's my pick.
I'm right with you, Dan. Smurfs Lost Village is my first rotten pick as well. I think this is, whatever niceties people would have put towards the Smurf movies would have been, to the first of the Smurfs films, and then even less for the second one. I think this is the third one. There can't be anybody left that's going to say anything nice about this this venture into the Smurfs. Who is asking for more Smurfs films? I don't get it. So I'm with you as far as it being rotten. Amanda, what's your second rotten pick?
I'm going to go with Chips. Sorry, Michael Pena, but I don't know how good this is going to be.
All right. Chips, we're all over the board on Chips. A lot of people predicting different things for Chips. Matt, what do you have as your second rotten pick?
Also the Smurfs, because, can we get some good movies for kids, please?
Matt is not a big fan of the animation coming out in March and April. That is for sure. We need something better probably. Dan, what do you got as your second rotten pick?
Yeah, another movie we've been talking mostly negative about, and for good reason. I'm going to say the Power Rangers because I saw the trailer and it made me want to cry.
Damn it, Dan.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I'm going with Power Rangers.
That's also my pick, Dan. We're
there you go.
in the same logic there. I'll have to try to do better next time and switch things up. I'm not as good as Matt. I can't pull an audible right on the spot here. So Smurfs, Lost Village, and Power Rangers, I think, two properties that aren't going to receive a lot of love when it comes to their newest incarnation. So, all right, now go ahead.
I thought about going with the Belko experiment just because I kind of want to see it, but I feel like it's very similar to a lot of movies, and it looks like it can be kind of weird, so I thought about going with that, but then I saw Power Rangers trailer again, and I'm like, no. Those Zords look worse than the TV show in the 90s somehow. So, yeah.
Those putties are made out of rocks. It's not right.
Oh, they've revealed the putties? I saw the first trailer, and I was like, oh, I'm done.
I have no idea what you're even talking about.
Yeah, dude,
They
made of
ruined our
rocks.
childhood.
They're trying to.
You guys are speaking another language because I don't know what any of those words are that you just used.
I was looking at the toys in Target the other day, and they were so wrong.
Okay. All right, for the new category when it comes to Rotten Tomatoes, what are we calling it, Amanda?
The Rotten Tomatoes versus battle.
All right, what's your Rotten Tomatoes versus battle pick?
I'm going to say that Table 19 is going to have a higher Rotten Tomatoes score than The Last Word.
Table 19 with Anna Kendrick, the comedy there, and Last Word, what was that?
With Amanda Seyfried.
Oh,
and
yeah,
Shirley
Shirley MacLaine comedy?
Mm-hmm.
So more love for the Anna Kendrick film?
Yes.
All right, so that's your versus matchup. Matt, what do you have?
So we just choose two that are coming out in this period, and we're comparing those two.
Or one from here and one from the past.
Okay, it's anything that it's essentially a wild card, a rotten wild card.
Basically.
But it's a versus battle.
Amanda wants to get the battling going. Any two films pitted against each other.
How about this? How about I say The Boss Baby will be better at Rotten Tomatoes than that one that we talked about with the cat, Kevin Spacey cat movie.
Lives?
9 Lives. It's gonna be 1 percentage point higher.
You're gonna get. Don't put any qualifiers. You don't want to.
No. It's going to be at least. How about?
Okay, at least 1% higher for Boss Baby than 9 Lives. I think that's an interesting prediction. Dan, what do you have?
I'm going to say In the World of the Monsters, like I did with my wild card to box office, and I'm going to say Colossal, which is another monster film, will have a higher Rotten Tomatoes score than Kong.
Colossal over Kong. All right.
So I'm kicking Kong while he's down, I guess. So if that does well, I am screwed. So there you go.
Dude, Kong looks badass. Like, I'm scared of King Kong for once. Like, the old school black and white, I was like, I felt bad for him. You know what I mean? Like, I always feel bad for King Kong. because they're just like mean to him and shit. But in this one, I'm like, dang, he is gonna like rip somebody in half. He's gonna be murking people, and I'm gonna be scared of him. I'm not gonna feel bad for his ass. He does get set on fire though. Like I felt bad about that, but then he just comes through and he just walks through it. He's on fire and he doesn't care. Like he's a badass, and I'm scared of Kong.
You've had more thoughts about Kong than I was anticipating so far.
Have you not seen how big my eyeballs get every time we see the trailer? When he like beats on his chest, I want to beat on my chest like that.
Okay, it might be an interesting theater experience when we go see that one. All right, for mine, I was torn. I was going to go with the Discovery versus Colossal battle, but I think I'll switch it up and I will go with Ghost in the Shell and Life. I'm going to say, regardless of how much they make or don't make, I'm going to say Ghost in the Shell ends up with a higher Rotten Tomatoes score than Life.
Isn't this about Rotten Tomatoes? So why you gotta bring box office into it?
Just reminding
Don't confuse people.
Just reminding people.
You're gonna confuse them.
All right. So those are the Rotten Tomatoes predictions. So we talked about quite a few of these films, but there's definitely a lot more that is a lot more films that are going to be coming out over the time here. So I wanted to get kind of a breakdown of what you guys were thinking overall from the months, from March and from April, what's coming out, what you're excited about. So Amanda, let's start with you. What are your thoughts overall when it comes to the spring?
I think there's some big movies coming out, and my excitement level is pretty high. Some of the movies that I'm looking forward to the most are, of course, Beauty and the Beast, Logan, believe it or not, I still really want to see Power Rangers. Also, Ghost in the Shell, I think, looks pretty badass. Kind of came out of nowhere for me, but ever since I've seen these trailers, I'm really excited to see it. And of course, I gotta see one movie that's gonna make me freaking cry, and that's Zookeeper's Wife. So I feel like there's a lot of potential here, but also a lot of potential for some shit to come out. So my hopes are high, and hopefully they're not dashed on the rocks of hopelessness.
All right. Matt, we already know that you're not looking forward to any of the films that are coming out geared towards the kids, at least in the animation route. What are your thoughts overall? What films are most likely to get you to the theater in March or April?
Oh man, so I think of the whole run of March and April, Logan looks the best, but he can't come out on Switch weekend, bro. Like I'm gonna be playing Zelda. Like I can't deal with that. So I might see Logan like the weekend of the 17th or something. But weirdly enough, like I kind of want to see Kong. I think they're gonna do a better job than that Godzilla movie that was terrible. I kind of want to see Beauty and the Beast. I feel like I owe it to my generation who made that movie what it is. And goddamn, dude, I almost want to see Power Rangers because it looks so bad. Like I loved that growing up.
You're like just asking to be tortured, and trust me, I've been through this. I saw the first Transformers live action film. You don't want to do this to yourself.
No, probably not. And then even more if it like makes a lot of money. Oh, it's gonna kill me inside. Like it looks so bad.
I think there's already like a lot of hate surrounding it from people who did love the TV show as kids. I'm just hoping that it modernizes it, makes it a little bit fresh, and doesn't totally suck so I can like it. Like I want to like it. I do. Is
there a single cartoon or kids show from the 80s or 90s that has been turned into a movie that was done well?
Okay, Transformers has made a lot of money.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was awful.
That's because
Transformers was
they did
awful.
Shitty.
Power Rangers looks awful.
You know what?
Whatever happened to that Gem and the Holograms?
That was terrible. I haven't seen it, but by all accounts, that was terrible.
But this could be okay. Like, maybe shit looks a little fucked up right now, but maybe it's a really cool way of putting it out there. Like, it kind of looks like...
You're fooling yourself.
No, they changed the premise. Like, they're no longer athletic teenagers with attitude. They're just people that Spider-Man'd.
They do get some Fantastic Four powers.
That's probably the best.
It's basically Chronicle, but with Power Rangers. So, we were gonna get the guy who directed Chronicle, but then he kind of made Fantastic Four, and that was awful. So we'll just take his idea and then add in some of our own little things. So
Garfield was a bad movie. Just saying. I can't think of one that was good based on any of those shows. Dan, am I missing something?
I mean, if you count live action, 21 Jump Street, but that was more because it was like it went a completely different direction. But I don't. I mean, I like the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
Oh yeah,
movie,
yeah,
but
the original one. But I'm saying, yeah, the ones that have come out here in the last like 10 to 20 years, not pretty, or 10 to 15 years, I guess. Dan, what's your thought overall? March and April, what are you most excited for?
I mentioned it already with Wilson. I think that's probably one I'm really excited for. Also, but I think there's like it's a really interesting month. We have almost like a summer preview because you have a lot of movies where I think they could have easily come out in the summer, like a Power Rangers, like a Kong, the Fast and Furious. So I think we're getting a lot of big blockbusters for this time of year, which is surprising, but also some movies that you would think could almost be Oscar contenders, with like The Zookeeper's Wife, also something like The Lost City of Z. There's a historical drama with Oscar Isaac and Christian Bale in The Promise.
Right.
The Circle. I mean, that to me looks like it could be great, and I'm looking forward to that. So and then you have some of the Netflix films that we talked about too that are coming out. So I'm actually kind of optimistic for March and April, much more than I have been in the past. So I'm hoping that some of these movies live up to their potential.
One thing that we will probably see here in March and April, though, regardless of all the potential, is everybody's been somewhat amazed, I think, as far as how January and February went, because almost every film has been somewhat successful. Like, there hasn't been like a huge like bomb, unless I'm just forgetting something or having a mind blank. But like Split did well, Get Out did phenomenal. All these films have been doing very well. So it's leaving it open for March or April to give us our first big bomb of the year for sure. I think one thing that I'm intrigued about is the science fiction films that are coming out in March and April. And it's going to be a kind of a sign of things to come throughout all of 2017, because there's a lot of sci-fi that's coming out this year, and this is kind of the tip of the iceberg. So we get kind of a couple of them that you guys have already mentioned in the Discovery and Colossal. Both kind of science fiction films. You have Ghost in the Shell, which obviously has its sci-fi. You have Life. So I mean, there's going to be quite a few science fiction films that are coming out. Not real good for, like Matt said, for the animated films. Nobody mentioned the other two animated films that are being either released or at least released in America, with Spark and Leap, to join Smurfs and Boss Baby. Not a impressive slate there of films, but I think there is, like Dan said, there's some almost Oscar type of movies, or movies that come out early that could have potential of maybe creeping into people's top 10 or top 20 if they actually live up to their promise. So it's going to be definitely interesting to see how it all plays out. Now, we said we were going to do a test run on this other on the feature film idea. Now, obviously, in the future, we're going to be picking a film, and nobody will be able to have made any predictions about that. But because nobody knew about that beforehand, this will be a film that some people have made predictions, but they haven't made specific predictions. So we're going to throw you guys all on the spot as a little test run here in the spring preview. And the feature film that we're going to go with for this section is going to be The Fate of the Furious. So The Fate of the Furious, we have to try to all come up with the exact Rotten Tomatoes score and the exact box office. So Dan, since you were the king last year, why don't you lead the way here and give us a starting point? What box office is it? Throw out a number that you think The Fate of the Furious is going to be able to attain.
Man, starting with box office.
Mm-hmm. And for the
let's
record,
go
nobody
with...
has been able to do any research or look at anything to make these predictions.
Actually, I looked up what every single one of the Fast and Furious movies made up until
Look
now.
at you being prepared.
I'm trying to think of what the last one did. I really don't know. I'm going to go with two. What was it?
300.
Over 2.
Yeah, the last one did 300 and something. That was with the whole Paul Walker.
The last one did 353 million.
Okay.
I don't think it'll do as well as that. But, I'm going to go 280 million.
Dang.
280 for Dan. I will go next, and I will say 260. I'll go a little bit lower. 260. Amanda?
I'm gonna go 255.
Really? You're gonna be that girl?
Yes. You ever see Price is Right?
All right, Matt, what do you got? We had a 280, a 260, and a 255.
A 281. No. I'm gonna go with 300. I think Dan is probably gonna take this one based on just all like the last 2 or 3. But I mean, it looks fun, guys.
All right, well, let's switch it then. A lot of high 200s up to the 300 mark. Interesting to see where it will fall within that. What about Rotten Tomatoes, though? This is a wild card, I think. What is the Fate of the Furious going to score Rotten Tomatoes wise? Dan, you get to start.
I'm going to go with 75%.
75% for the Fate of the Furious. Amanda?
I'm going to go with 45.
45.
Yes.
So we're already running the gauntlet between possible scores. Matt, we got a 45 and a 75. What do you think?
I'm going to go with, like, no joke 76, because that was what I was going to go with. Because it's like, the 2 of the last 3 have been right there, like 77, 79, so 76 just a tick lower than those 2, but still certified fresh. I think it deserves that, probably.
All right. I'll go with 60. I'm going to kind of split the middle between Amanda and you guys and go somewhere in the 60 range, because I don't know if it's going to score quite as well, but I could be wrong. You guys could be more on track there with the critics more so getting on board with what this franchise is and kind of scoring it based on that. So it'd be interesting. 75, 76, 60, and 45.
I'm a risk taker.
Risk taker. All
She
right.
did really well on the Rotten Tomatoes one last year, so listen to her.
I doubled my score in the final round.
So she's on a hot streak.
Can't touch this.
All right. Anybody else? Any closing thoughts on the spring, March, April? Something to look out for, or anything else that you want to say, Amanda?
It's morphin' time.
It's morphin' time. I don't know of a better way to end than that. All right. So you have to let us know if you think our picks are crazy, who you think is going to come out with the early lead after the spring predictions are revealed to be right or wrong. You can always visit the website, www.geekcastradio.com. Find the episode post and comment there. We'll interact with you and reply to any comments made on the website. You can also keep up to date with all things Geekcast related by going to the Facebook page, Geekcast Radio Network, where you'll get posts about everything, all the podcasts, all the blogs, all the articles that go up based on that website. You can also follow the show on Twitter. The Twitter handle for the show is @CinemaGeekcast. You can also follow us individually on Twitter if you'd like to kind of interact with us there and start a conversation. Amanda, what's your Twitter?
First, I want to give a shout out to my kitty because it's his birthday today, and he just turned 2. So happy birthday, Mad Mardigan.
So if anybody wants to give shout-outs to Mr. Mad Mardigan. And
you can tweet me @HardCandyMandy, eyes no eyes.
Excellent. Dan, how do they tweet you?
Through Twitter @Movie Revolt. I do not have any cat birthdays, but, next time.
Next time. Matt, what about you? How can people get in touch with you on Twitter?
I am at Fridley Set. I think the last time we recorded was one of our cats' birthdays, but I'm not gonna follow that. What is that?
Amanda got presents and everything, and we had a whole unveiling. It was a big thing.
He loved his presents, man. I wish he would like cake, because I'd make him a cake.
Kitty cake.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Amy did the same for her cat.
All right, and you can interact with me @OptimusSolo, but also keep in tune for other things Cinema Geek related. We have more episodes coming out in our video game series, as well as our Hayao Miyazaki series, as we kind of get closer to the end of that one. And a lot of fun stuff planned for 2017. So tune in next week for another chance to listen to the Cinema Geeks.